Uh,
Remain flexible, adapting to challenging.
check. Okay.
Challenging. These microphones are really interesting. Challenging financial landscapes, first brought on by the COVID-19.
All right. I just got done listening to PDX scanner Trimet calls. It is, I don't really know what to say, because it seems to me that, I don't know, there's so many operators out there that just don't have a clue as to what's going on, uh, and how to deal with it. It shocks me. It just shocks the hell out of me. Now, let's see here. I'm having audio trouble here, so I don't really know how to deal with it. Let me see.
Pandemic, and now by worker shortage. As offices reopen and venues return to full status, we expect to see Trimet ridership to increase. Yet, we expect workforce changes with telework and hybrid of telework and in-person, keeping ridership lower than pre-pandemic level.
And this is the worst person to have as your board president. Of course, they elected the most pro-establishment person, the Hillary Clinton of Trimet, pretending that somehow having a woman as a president is somehow important. And we all know by now that all of this political correctness, putting in all these so-called not included population into positions of power, does nothing to change the situation of the peasants. They're just different faces, but they're still oligarchs, and they still represent oligarchs.
For quite some years. With passenger revenue expected to be depressed for some time,
and all, get this straight. They keep talking about this, but it's a deflection. Passenger revenue makes up 6% of the Trimet budget, and they got more than that from the federal government in the phony COVID aid, which was all stolen. It was all stolen by the elites. No actual people got any COVID aid. It was all stolen, and Trimet stole it too. The money was supposed to be to keep service going, and they stole it for themselves.
One-time federal financial support packages waning and higher wages for response to worker shortages and retention, Trimet is taking a strategic approach to budgeting for the coming year. Despite this, the budget also supports capital projects that will bring faster, more reliable transit to the region.
And that's a lie. We know that's a lie. It's not going to bring faster. It's not going to bring more reliable. They've never done anything that's actually improved any of that. They talk about it. It's just false propaganda.
Region, improve safety, further reduce our transit system's carbon footprint, and maintain a transit service that is accessible and welcoming to all.
It's not welcoming. It's not accessible. We're watching a full-blown liar. I hear that Dessous lies through his teeth in this presentation, which is why I'm watching this, because somebody brought up the point that the light rail didn't meet the expectations, and Dessous said we've met all of our expectations. A bold-faced lie.
I'm going to now turn the meeting over to Trimet General Manager Dessous to give some additional detail and provide an update on projects and initiatives that the agency plans to move forward.
I wonder if we could just take a pause and make sure we get introductions
Sure.
for everyone. Sure. Good morning, everyone. My name is Harmony Kidos. I'll officially call to order the Trimet budget hearing. I'm the chair of the Tax Supervising and Conservation Commission. Welcome.
Yes, Simmons, this is not your meeting. This is her meeting. Look at her, right? Oh, my God.
Everyone, we're so happy to see everyone in person. This is my first in-person hearing, and first as chair, so bear with me. The TSCC is a community oversight commission established by the Oregon legislature. The commission oversees the budgets of all TSCC member taxing districts.
Oh, I see. Okay, so that explains because I haven't figured out exactly why they're involved at all, but apparently the legislature put this group in here to pretend that they're monitoring shit. which we all know they're not doing.
And annually conducts a thorough budget review and certification process. Additionally, the TSCC holds public budget hearings to engage with district leadership and provide additional opportunity for public comment before budget adoption. I'll start with my fellow commissioners to my right with introductions and to state if they have any business relationships with the district that could be perceived as a conflict of interest.
Good morning, all. My name is Mark Wibold, and I've been with the TSCC and in this, not this room, but with you all, 4 years now, I think. And I am a senior policy analyst at Portland State University in the President's Office, and I have no business conflicts of interest with Trimet.
Good morning. I'm James Offsink, Vice Chair of the TSCC. This is my 6th year and 6th time, or 7th? Margo, help me out. 7th, thank you. Time hearing with all of you. Good to see you all. When I'm not TSCCing, I work at Oregon Health and Science University, and I don't have any business relationships with the district.
As I mentioned, my name is Harmony Kiraz. This is my 3rd year with TSCC. I was a former teacher. I currently work on K-12 science curriculum and assessment. I have 2 small children. They're so small.
Well, we can both say good morning.
Yes, sure. Getting bigger
Good
by
morning,
the day.
thank you,
And they have no
and
conflict
the
of
commissioners
interest
for
with the
being
district.
with us today. I'm Linda Simmons,
What's
and
going
I'm
on here?
board president. And I have a few remarks on Trimet's approved budget for
Why am I
fiscal
hearing?
year 2023. Over the last several
What the
years,
hell's going on?
Trimet has remained flexible,
Oh.
adapting to
James and I are now starting the last half of our second term. In my prior life, I was a government finance officer.
We can't hear you.
first year as board president, obviously.
Ozzy Gonzalez. I'm representing District 2, and we're in District 2, and that extends out towards along the 26th,
You want to be
towards the
mayor?
west side.
Good morning.
I am so sorry.
We live in
Laverne
technology,
Willis
even there.
District, 6.
And President Simmons, do you want me to go ahead and introduce staff, have staff go around? Good morning, everyone. I'm Sam Dessou. I've been here in the current job since June of last year. So thank you all for being here this morning. I'm the general manager. We'll start with you, Kim.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Kim Sewell. I'm the Executive Director for Labor Relations and Human Resources.
Executive Director.
Hi, I'm Dee Brookshire. I am the Executive Director of Finance and Administrative Services and Chief Financial
You're not
Officer
just
for
a
TriMet.
director. You're
And
an
I just want to
executive.
comment that we are so pleased to work with you. We've been saying over the last few days how many times we call you during the year, and we are so grateful for your guidance.
Oh, God.
Bonnie?
Kiss that butt.
Good morning. I'm Bonnie Todd. I'm the Chief Operating Officer at Trimet.
I'm sorry, I get goofy. This is like a private joke between me and the 2 people that actually like this stuff. So,
Good morning. I'm Stephen Witter. I'm the Executive Director of Engineering, Construction, and Planning, and this will be my 6th TSCC.
and your last, you're fired. You quit. You screwed up the goddamn streetcar construction.
Good to be here. I look forward to it too, Tootie.
Yeah, you're forced to.
Good morning, I'm J.C. Vanetta. I'm the Executive Director of Public Affairs.
They're all executive. He's a goofball.
I don't know if it's working. Good morning, everybody. My name is Roland Hoskins. I'm the Executive Director of Maintenance Operations.
They're all executive directors. None of them are. They're just
Good
regular.
morning, my name's Andrew Wilson. I'm the new Executive Director of Safety and Security at Trimet. So it's the first time.
He's a new safety guy. He took supporter.
Good morning, Ethan Dennisman, Executive Director of Information Technology.
Oh, there's even more. We can't hear any of you. Who's that guy?
Would you like to introduce anyone else in the audience for our staff?
Absolutely. John, why don't you introduce yourself, and then Shelley as well.
Good morning, my name is John Gardner. I'm Director.
It's John Gardner, Mr. Equity himself.
Good morning.
And that's Shelley Devine. You all such a big club. It's so fun for you all.
Also, Nancy, why don't you, Kim, and Young introduce yourselves as well.
Nancy and Oliver, Director of Budget and Grants. It's good to see you all in person.
Come on, I don't have time for this. Move along.
All what's still to come. So let me give you an overview of the budget here for a moment. Trimet's approved fiscal year 2023 budget of $1.8 billion includes the following.
1.8 billion, folks. 1.8 billion.
$736.7 million in day-to-day operating requirements.
7.36 million in day-to-day operating. That means there's more money spent for other things besides operations. So there you go.
$246.1 million in capital improvement. The remainder of the budget includes debt service,
debt service. That's your criminal bankers, your international banking cartel sucking off the tit of the taxpayers by buying Trimet bonds or selling the bonds, charging interest to Trimet, and making money for nothing.
Through funds the Trimet provides to other governmental agencies, fund balances, and contingencies. For the 10th straight year, the budget does not include an increase to our base fare.
Yeah, you try to increase the fare. Let's point that out. They increased the fare 10 years ago to the highest fare they could get away with, and they left it there. And it's still a high fare by public transportation standards.
Let me share with you the opportunities and the challenges that guided our budgeting process this year. Trimet continues to provide essential transit services to the Tri-County area.
Barely, because you've allowed an operator shortage of 300 to happen under your watch. So you're basically a failure for letting that happen.
And also the region as we recover from the pandemic. We're working to restore ridership.
Scamdemic. They destroyed the world on purpose, and now they're destroying the world. The whole Russia thing is another step in the destruction of our society and our world.
And address the greatest operator shortage in Trimet history.
It's the greatest shortage in Trimet. It's another great in Trimet history, folks.
We continue to enhance customer and employee safety despite the national law enforcement and security resource shortage that appears.
Yeah, you're doing a great
As
job.
Trimet is an important part of the solution to address climate change, we've reduced the agency's greenhouse gas emissions by some 63% in the past year. And we are further developing a long-term carbon reduction strategy that would move Trimet to be net zero by 2050. We are providing more access to transit for those in our communities who are struggling financially. More than 40,000 people have now signed up for our reduced fare program based on their income level. And we're looking at opportunities to use state funding to help more people connect with jobs, education, and services. Trimet is in an intensive capital project period during which we will complete the renovation of one of our major bus operating facilities, and that's the Powell Garage. We are completing construction on Division Transit Project. This will lead to the launch of our first Trimet FX, or Frequent Express line, in September. It will move people more efficiently and reliably along the Division Street corridor between Gresham and downtown Portland. Work continues on a Better Red, our project to expand MAX Red Line service into Hillsborough and address the bottlenecks that will increase reliability throughout the light rail system. Trimet is also implementing key state of good repair work on critical infrastructure and on bus and rail fleet replacements and expansions. At Trimet, we are committed to serving our region, supporting our customers and our employees, being good financial stewards of taxpayer funds.
Here you are.
Just thank you for your time this morning with us. And with that, I'll turn it over to our Executive Director of Finance, Dee Brookshire, to provide additional comments to the questions that you've submitted.
Okay, well, I wanted to let you know that we are very happy to see you again. We always enjoy meeting with you and look forward to going through these questions. And with that, I'll turn it over to you, Chair Keynote.
Turn it over.
Thank you. Before we dive into questions, we do want to acknowledge the district's receipt of the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award from the Government Finance Officers Association for its fiscal year 2021-2022 adopted budget book. We would also like to congratulate the district on the continued improvements to the budget document, as Toonie shared with us earlier. We appreciate the commitment to improving transparency and readability of the document, not just for us and our staff, but for the public at large. So we'll begin we'll dive into our questions, and once we finish, there will be an opportunity to take public testimony, and participants may be asked to be recognized at that time. So I think we should dive in, and I have the first question. General Manager DeSue and COO Todd, congratulations on starting your new positions last year. What has been your biggest aha moment here at Trimet this first year in your roles, and what is the most important thing upcoming in this budget?
I'll start off before pitching over to you, Bonnie, here. I'll start it here. I would say the great resignation, as they're calling it here. You know, if you think about COVID and how it set this unprecedented churn in the United States and the labor, in the whole labor market across the U.S., it was widespread.
And it's a pay shortage, folks. Nobody's willing to work for shit anymore. So it's an oligarchical created problem, all right? This is the truth. Don't listen to the lies of the technocracy. They don't want to pay, they don't get the people. It's that simple.
Job losses that occurred during the pandemic. And it really affected us last year at Trimet. We lost close to 300 represented employees last year and more than 120 non-represented employees. And it was a whole myriad of reasons across the board that occurred there. And we have actually started to look at a way on how to address some of the issues that we were dealing with. We're looking at improving our safety overall for personnel and really focusing on the employee experience as an organization. We're looking at improving our relationships with the ATU that's taken place there and really focusing on the recruitment and the retention of personnel. Don't know if you've seen latest here, and this is something that's systematic across the country right now. I was just in Denver 2 weeks ago at a CEO conference for all transit leaders across the country. This is the number one issue that all agencies are faced with, is trying to get personnel to come. Our latest is we had to...
Yeah, and if you can't get personnel to come, you raise the wages, and you're not doing it. You're not doing what you need to do, none of you, because you're unaccountable technocrats who don't give a shit. You're all getting... What are you getting? $350, $350, over $1,000 a day for this guy. We're living in a kleptocracy, and this is one of the enablers of it.
Press our wage rate to move our start rate up to $25 an hour in order to get people to come. And if you're here with us this morning, you're here in one of our resolutions. We had to reduce service by 10% because we just didn't have staff to be able to provide that. So
reduced it by 20. There's line number one.
I think that one aha for me is the great resignation, and we're doing everything we can to stop it or at least mitigate it.
Thank you. So I've been here for just under 4 months. I've had a number of aha moments. I would say the two that I'm most focused on at the moment are related to security, and the aha about that is that law enforcement ranks are not going to increase or improve substantially anytime soon. So the aha is I am now tasked with figuring out how to add security to the system and just improve the atmosphere out there without those resources. So that's really a place where we're trying to be very creative, and we're starting to make some strides. Very pleased with that. The other area is in maintenance. I think I was a little surprised at the age of the system. I mean, I know how old the system is, but the age of the assets and some of the systems. And, obviously we've been a capital organization for a long time. We're pivoting to more of an operating focused organization. And so what I look forward to in the next year is looking to the future to see what we can do to update many of our systems.
Thank you so much. GM Dessou, in your opening comments or your first response, you talked a lot about labor challenges, and so our next question digs into that a little bit more deeply. We're aware, as you mentioned, that Trimet has struggled to both recruit and retain, especially drivers over the last year, and you mentioned the impact on service reductions as well. We know that we saw in the budget that there's an incentive package to assist with recruitment, and you talked about increasing the starting wage as well. We wondered if you could tell us kind of about how effective the $3,500 recruitment bonus and the higher starting wage have been, and then wanted to just hear what other strategies you've been using on the recruitment piece aside from the initial kind of aside from recruitment, the retention piece, getting people in the door, but then how do you keep people here as well?
So I'll start, and then I'm going to turn it over to Kim Sewell, our Executive Director of Human Resources. This was a very clear focus of mine, is to create a single point executive steering committee to take a look at this. And Kim was one of the points, along with Rochelle Glacier, who's not here today, in our transportation committee. But this is very critical to us, and I'll turn it over to you, Kim.
Thank you, Mr. Dessou. Morning again. Obviously, this has been a significant focus for Human Resources and Labor Relations. And as Mr. Dessou mentioned, we do have an operator shortage committee that meets regularly.
Operator shortage committee, Rippy! A committee! You fucking idiots! They have a committee to deal with it. You fucking idiots.
And it's identifying actions that we will be taking to try to mitigate it.
Well, identify actions. How about you raise the fucking wages, you fucking moron?
Mitigate this great resignation impact that we are seeing. The incentive program that we did launch has been effective. We did see an immediate spike with our applications. It was very promising, but then they leveled off. And so what we did is we recently increased those incentives. So our signing bonus is, as you might have seen, we've been advertising, but our signing bonus is now at $7,500.
That's a lie! Call it out. You don't get the $7,500 until after 3 years, so that's a lie. Stop lying. Stop lying.
And our internal referral program is at $1,500. Again, we saw an immediate spike in application numbers, more promising than we've seen. Actually, my recruiting manager indicated it's the highest number he's seen since he has been doing operator recruitment at Trimet for years. So that has been a very significant boost to our application numbers. Some of the additional actions that we are taking are, we use the Indeed online hiring platform.
Indeed.
We've expanded our profile for that.
Oh boy.
That has allowed direct apply to occur. And we also utilize their resume tool, which allows us to reach out directly to applicants.
Sorry. It's going to take me a while to go through this, but it is definitely more interesting than a goddamn board meeting.
We have increased our capacity for conducting interviews. We've got additional staff that can review resumes and help participate in the interview process. And we've got a new email campaign that we've launched where we're reaching out to some of the old applicants that we've had. We have a network of about...
How about you hire back Trimet driver, who you should never have fired in the first place?
7,000 prior applicants that we've reached out to try to increase some application. We've also streamlined our hiring process so that we've shortened it as much as possible. It takes a while. We've got significant security and background checks, but we've streamlined that so we can get people in and successfully in the process as soon as possible. And there are a lot of job fair hiring events that my staff is attending, both virtual and in person. And I think we've got one hopefully set up towards the end of May. So all of those efforts, and again, with our Operator Shortage Committee, we are regularly bringing ideas to the group to act.
Thank you. I have two follow-up questions. The first one, on the recruitment side, could you remind me or help me understand how long does it typically take from the application point until you would have somebody who's able to be a driver or whatever the first position would be?
It takes a few weeks to actually get an offer. Okay. We can issue a conditional offer, but then there are security checks and drug screenings that have to occur. So it takes a couple of weeks for that. And then the applicants come in and start our training program. And I believe now that is 6 or 7 weeks.
Okay.
So 7 weeks. And so that's, at that point, then they're able to sit in a seat and operate the bus.
Yeah, so it is a pretty quick turnaround.
Yeah.
Maybe 10 weeks or something between applicant to being able to
No,
have
higher
somebody
than that.
fully hired. Thanks. And then on the retention piece, I think and probably because of the way our question was worded, it was focused a lot on the recruitment part, but could you touch on some of the things that you're doing on the retention piece as well?
We are serving our employees to look at retention issues, number one, to see what in fact would keep them here at Trimet. And then as General Manager Dessou and
I'll tell you what will keep them there. Money! Money will keep them there. Double their salary.
Bonnie Todd mentioned, safety and security is a primary focus of our operators and the rest of our staff. And so there is a steering
Oh, and how about barriers that actually protect them?
committee that is addressing a lot of those issues to make sure that we are meeting their needs and making them feel safe when they are on the system, which we think is one of the main reasons that individuals may not be staying with Trimet. So that, in addition to some other incentives that we're looking at, are things that we are trying to do to keep, not just bring people here, but keep them here as well.
We're going to cut the movie for now because my buddy's here. And cut!